Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be making over this entryway behind me. We've been working on the exterior for a while now. We lime washed the brick, we painted the siding, we did a makeover on the garage door, and now it's time to address this area. If you saw my last video that had the garage door makeover, you saw my Pinterest fail where I was not happy with trying to make the door look like wood, but I want to try it again, and we're going to try to do it to this post right here. Before we start painting and staining, you can see that over the years that this post has gotten some damage, it's got some rot. So we have to take off these trim pieces first, and we're going to replace them with composite trim so we don't ever have to worry about rot again. Can you see this wood grain that this PVC trim has? I think that that's important in getting it to look like real wood. So I explained this a little bit in my garage door makeover when I attempted to do this process to the garage door. I'm starting off by painting everything this color by Sherwin Williams. It's called Gold Lustre. That's it, Gold Lustre. And it's to give everything a warm undertone, because when I tested this out with just the stain that's going to go on top of it, the stain just looked like a dark brown. But if you first put this warm color underneath, it'll be a much warmer stain on the top of it. I hope that makes sense. So we're doing the trim like that and the post like that. So while we wait for that yellow paint to dry, we're just going to keep using paint to either transform or hide the things that we want to change, like this. Okay, so our base coat is dry, and now it's time to start staining. You can see right here, I'm only going in one direction. I'm trying to mimic the wood tone, so I'm not doing circles or anything like that. I'm just staining in one direction, and I'm also blending where I overlap, blending that together so it's not doubling up on the stain, to try to make it look like one solid piece of wood. Here I'm using those trim pieces, at least the ones that are still in one piece, those trim pieces from the post that I demoed earlier, and I'm using those as a template to cut the new trim pieces. So I'm basically just lining that up, marking it, and cutting them at a 45-degree angle, mitered edges, so they can hopefully meet up together pretty well. One thing that I'm really glad that I did, and I would strongly recommend if you were doing this project at home, is I stained everything before I started putting the trim on. Because if I would have put that trim on and then painted and then trying to stain, you would have been able to see where the stains stopped. It would have just been inevitable. You can't make it not look like that with the gel stain. So by assembling the trim after I stained, I could just go right underneath and then put the trim on top of that, and so you can't see, it makes it look more like wood. You can't see that the stains stopped where the trim is. Okay, my template was obviously a little bit short. You may be able to see right there that the seams are not perfect, so we're just going to go through and caulk them and then gel stain them. I want to take a quick break for today's sponsor, Lifewit. So I want to show you my master bedroom. You guys have not seen this space before. It will be in an upcoming makeover. Everything will be changing except for these sheets. I have a pretty deep mattress, so sometimes it can be hard to find sheets that stay on the mattress that are deep enough where they don't come off during the night, which everyone knows is super frustrating. Another thing that I like about these sheets is I use self-tanner a lot, and so I'm always getting it on the sheets, and these sheet sets are so inexpensive that I can order multiple sets so I can change my sheets all of the time. And they're super soft. They're not too thick, which in Texas I can really appreciate because I think my husband would sweat to death if we had thick sheets on our bed. But I showed you guys these pillows from Lifewit in a previous video, and they are holding up so well. I sleep with them every single night. They're the nicest pillows that I've ever owned. So I'll link the sheets and the pillows down below. Make sure that you guys go check them out. Okay, while we wait on that caulk to dry, let's talk about this door. So obviously we're gonna paint it, but before I get to that, it needs a few repairs. When I was putting this window in, a little piece up front right here tore, and so I was gluing it down, but I had to put some screws in it to hold it, and so I need to repair that. And then I have an idea for this whole doorknob setup, so let's go ahead and take that off. Because I am basically renovating my entire house, I have to decide what's worth splurging on and what I need to save on. This doorknob was in perfect working condition. It was already gold, but I wanted it to be more of a brass color. So I just decided to spray paint it and reuse it instead of spending the hundreds of dollars on the doorknob that I really wanted. But I have to make those hard choices when I'm doing all these projects because I have so much to do. And I'm starting off with this door makeover by cleaning this glass. I added this window to this door. If you haven't seen that video, I'll link it below and make sure that you go check it out because it used to look completely different even before we started this makeover. But I'm cleaning it really well to get all the lime wash off of it from where we lime washed the brick. And then I'm taping off, instead of taping off every individual square, I put paper behind these little pieces because I don't want to have to tape those off. So you can actually slide something behind it and it makes it much easier than taping off every individual piece. And I'm also priming them with spray paint because learn from my mistakes. I've done this plenty of times painting doors. If you hang a wreath or anything up there, the regular paint doesn't adhere properly and it'll scratch. But if I paint it with a spray paint first, when I go over with latex paint, it'll end up looking and lasting a whole lot longer. Okay, the trick that I used putting paper behind each one of these instead of having to tape each one off really works well if you remove the paper while the paint is still wet. I let it dry, and so it was a nightmare to get off. The door definitely needs some touch-ups on the side, and then I have no idea, I guess I'll just get carried away and paint it up there black. That should not be black, so I'm gonna tape everything off and touch up everything up. This front porch entryway is definitely not done, but let's remember what it looked like when we first bought the house. And then we added the window to the door and then lime washed the brick and painted all of the siding. And this is how it looked for a little while we did the garage door makeover. And then now this is what it looks like. This is where we're going to stop for today's video. Make sure that you're subscribed because next week we will be working on part 2 of the front porch makeover and you don't want to miss it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye!